We have some pointers for you guys, and definitely here to answer any questions that you have. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you guys want to take your seats, and we'll be ready to roll. And I don't know if this is working today.
Oh.
Remember it dropped yesterday? Yeah.
All right, so let me set the stage for us fairly quickly. So raise up your hand if you know who the YDN is. There's too many hands to count. So we are an organization that is all about creating quality experiences for young people no matter where they're at, and it's super important for us to do that. And we kind of suffer from an identity crisis because a lot of people think youth development. When you hear the name Youth Development Network, what do you think we do? Develop youth. Yeah. So people think that, and they think we work all the time with young people. The reality is we actually work more with the systems and services and the leaders of the organizations before we interact with young people. But this camp is an opportunity to show off our talent, our skill, our superpowers in working directly with young people. And it's the thing that we look forward to the most throughout the whole year. So you could look up our mission and vision online. There's some ugly pictures of me up there, but yeah just ignore that. But the heartbeat of the organization is the most important thing, and there are 4 core values. And number 1 is relationships. So when we work with young people, we've seen it time and time again that when we build solid relationships with them right away, they just excel. They go from good to great to world class, and it's really important for us. And when we meet teachers, when we meet educators that say, the relationship isn't as important to me as the learning, we're like, you don't get it. The bridge to learning is relationship building. And also this work of youth development is so intense that we need to partner with as many people as possible, and that's why relationships are big for us. The second one is change. We're sitting on about 50 years of evaluations and research that keeps coming back the same way. Young people need this, young people need this. Yet, so many systems and services are not giving young people that. So we kind of walk around like a roaring lion, like, hey, you need to change, hey, you need to change, and we don't care what people say about that. We're like, here's the proof, right? Here's what happens when you do that. The third one is social responsibility, social justice. There is a prison poverty pipeline for marginalized youth. We know that as we speak, there are young people that are going down that pipeline at an amazing rate, and we need to create pipelines of prosperity, pipelines of promise. So for us, this is about justice and making sure that marginalized youth are getting those opportunities. Last but not least, this work is way too intense, so we have to have fun. We just have to have fun while hanging out with our young people and hanging out with the adults that do it. So any questions about our heartbeat? That's it right there. If you want to kill YDN, just take one of those away. Really, that is about what we're about. And at camp, you'll see these. You'll just be like, you'll remember this conversation right here, or this conversation, me talking to you, and you'll be like, oh, there it is. There's that social justice thing. There's that change thing. There's that relationship thing. And you'll definitely see fun. Let's hand it over to you guys really fast. Could someone read that first goal for today?
Showcase the design for this year's TRUSD Student Leadership Camp.
Big time. We're going to do that today. You walk away knowing exactly what the design is. How about the second bullet?
Provide a better understanding of the strength assessment, how it is used to strengthen individuals, teams, and communities.
Yes. So did you guys take your strengths assessment already?
Yes.
You did? And oh, nice. Do you guys remember one of your top 5?
Yeah, she printed it for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Self-assurance.
It's an interesting one that she chose to share.
Yes. You want to say why it's so interesting? Self-assurance?
So when looking at the 34 themes and how prevalent they are in an individual's top 5, self-assurance and discipline are the least likely to pop up in anyone's top 5.
And over 10 million people have taken the strengths assessment. So when we say, out of 10 million people, you're like in the 5 percentile.
Yeah.
My students, and I took this, and the students I've taken to camp, and we didn't have any of the same themes, so it was really interesting. One of them said, wow, we're very different people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I said, yes, we are.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's
So
more
this will
to
be
that.
really cool when we look at working with teams and communities, like how do you build those bridges based on your strengths?
Right. Do you remember one of your top 5?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't done it? Oh, we got you. Don't worry. Yeah, you'll be able to do it as soon as you want after today. Kenya, do you remember one of your top 5? Empathy. So people with empathy are exactly that. They can read people's emotions. They can understand situations emotionally while other people can. I don't get that people need a break in this room. They don't see it, but someone with empathy would see it from a facilitator point of view. Can someone read this one right here, third one?
Clarify expectations for adult leaders.
This is super critical. Like, we want you guys to go to camp and have a blast, but we also want you to know that you're like on like pretty much 24/7, and we're gonna do everything to take care of you guys. But we're there for our young people in a big way. And can someone from YDN read the last one?
I gotcha. Spotlight the logistics for this year's camp and where you fit into the plan.
Yes, there we go. Cool. So here's how we plan on doing this. We thought this would take about 4 hours, but because of the numbers coming up, we are able to fly through this in about close to 2 hours. So just to warm up, I'm setting the stage. You are going to meet the YDN Twin Rivers team in a minute. We're going to share the camp agenda. We'll talk about the strengths assessment, why we use it, why we think it is the way to build relationships and build young leaders. What's your role at camp, leading up to camp, your role, and after camp as well. And then transportation, really big part. Like, we need everyone here right on time in order to take off. So we'll talk about transportation. We'll go over any paperwork. There are a lot of questions about paperwork yesterday.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that you have what you need and make sure that your young people have that as well. And then we'll take care of any Q&A. And before you know it, it'll be time to go have lunch or leave, or whatever you want to do. Any questions? Cool, all right. This is our facilitation team. I'm Adrian.
I'm Rachel.
Rachel.
I'm James.
You'll be meeting Rangane. Rangane is from Ubuntu Green, a nonprofit that we work closely with, and she's been partnering with us for camp for the last 2 years and does an amazing job. Rihanna is an amazing young person from the University of Alabama who's a YDI alumni and camp alumni, I should say, and has come back to do that. Julian from Grant High School will be joining us. He is on his way to UC Santa Cruz right after camp, so we're super excited about that for him. Quincy from Grant High School, who's going to be a senior. Olivia from Grant High School, who is on her way to UCLA after camp. Jenny from Grant High School, who's on her way to
UCLA. Olivia's on her
I
way
always
to
do
Humboldt.
that. Gotcha. Olivia's Humboldt. Jenny is UCLA. And Sammy's local, a camp alumni, and such an amazing guy. He's a great relationship builder. And then the people that you usually don't see are the people that I'm about to introduce next. And that's Jim, Vicky, and Eric. Eric is the guy on the camera. Vicky's the one who is always working, but she'll wave. And then Jim was in here just a minute ago. And then the Twin Rivers team. Kenya just left the room. The phone. You'll be working with Rudy Puente, that's here from the district. Dana will be here, Brian will be here, Enid, I always say her name wrong. And then the nurse too. We haven't met the nurse yet, but the nurse plays a pivotal role. There are so many of our young people who are on medication or are allergic to certain things, and we're in the elements, so the nurse is on in a huge way. Craig Murray from the district will be showing up to camp, and so will Dr. Martinez, our superintendent, on the second day. So there'll be a big posse of adults at camp.
Absolutely.
Yep, cool. So I'm gonna hand it over to James now. Welcome.
All right. So you should have picked up in the back this agenda. Just gonna roll through the agenda really quick here and highlight some key things. First I want to talk a little bit about the design of the camp and how it's designed. The first day is really designed to center around the me element and focus on inclusion for the students, so including people into the group. And on that day, we're asking people to arrive here at about 7 a.m. To help us with things as far as getting the students together and stuff like that. So the adult leads, we're asking to arrive around 7. The bus will depart around 7:30 or 8. We can go to 8, but we're trying to get out of here around 7:30. It's going to be a pretty long bus ride. There will be a break in between there so people can use the restroom, we'll have some snacks and stuff, and we hope to arrive at Santa Cruz around 11:30. Once we arrive there, we're going to do some cabin assignments and then have some lunch. After that, we're going to go into creating some agreements and doing an overview of the camp with the students and the adult leads, and after then they'll get directly into some ropes course activities and start to do some of that being acknowledged for what they're good at and also presenting themselves to each other. So that will be built into that. After that, we'll return from ropes course, have some time to clean up and get into dinner. And right after dinner, we'll get into our first 2 workshops. Those workshops the first one is designed really to present yourself and start to explore your strengths. And the second one is designed around kind of being acknowledged for what you're really good at. And they're called, it's the strengths interviews and then balconies and basements are the 2 we'll be doing. After that, we have a fun game. This is my favorite one, Ultimate Foosball. And it gets really intense, and sometimes the adults get very competitive, and it's a fun game. Then we'll go into cabin reflection time, and then we'll have lights out at 11. And those things will be consistent. The lights out and the cabin reflection time will be at 10 and 11 every night. The next day is really centered around the element of we, and starting to develop some influence within the group, getting to know one another a little bit more. And we'll wake up at 7 a.m. and have breakfast at 8. That will be consistent throughout the days as well. And then a lot of ropes course this day. So 9 a.m. start to get into the ropes course. And this area of the ropes course will be around kind of managing conflict within the group and starting to develop that element. We'll come back for lunch, and then after lunch we'll do ropes course again. So there's gonna be lots of ropes on the second day. After we return from the second round of ropes course, we'll have a little bit of free time in there so people can kind of unwind. Then we'll have some dinner. We'll get into our third workshop, and then we will prep for a talent show. So if you have any talents, you want to start developing a song you want to put together, I don't know, anything, breakdancing, I'm working on my handstands myself, so. After the talent show, we'll go in and do some more cabin reflection time, and then lights out again at 11. That brings us to our third day. This third day is really going to be centered around starting to build community within the groups from the schools that are invited, and between just our larger group is in general. So we'll wake up again at 7, have breakfast at 8, and then at 9 a.m. we're going to get into some strengths activities, and these will kind of be based around having some shared responsibility and trying to celebrate the achievements from the ropes course from the other days and trying to bring that element into to build community. After we do our energizer and strengths activities, have a little bit of free time, people can mingle, and we'll have some activities set up for that too. It's not going to